Welcome back to another episode of the Beyond the Arc podcast. Today's episode, I'm going to be going through and talking about one trade to make the perfect offseason move for every NBA team. So if you do enjoy this content, do me a huge favor, smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, comment down below on your favorite offseason move to this point. Without further ado, let's get right on into this. So this is going to be reacting to Bleacher Report, their report on one team, one trade, per team, whole 9 yards. And then I'm going to kind of give a little bit of feedback on it, just kind of giving my take, maybe giving some adjustments to the trade as well, or specific players that those teams should be targeting instead. Speaking of changing things around, let's start with the Atlanta Hawks, right? Bleacher Report states that the perfect trade for the Hawks this offseason is receiving a point guard from the Bulls in Trey Jones, a 2028 second round pick, and a 2032 second round pick. In exchange, they give the Bulls Zachary Ricochet. Now, although I understand that Ricochet probably is he's in that class with bust labeled all over him, just because he unfortunately didn't pan out and hasn't really shown any flashes of success. Similar to Anthony Bennett, even like Greg Oden-esque, like just not performing to the level we expected. Now, of course, with Greg Oden, you can give up injuries as why he wasn't playing well. Ricochet seems like he just doesn't have it. He's still young and there's still time, but especially with how bad the Hawks had been, you would think that if he was a competent NBA player, he would have shown his flashes by this point. So, in my eyes, yes, I do think offloading Ricochet is a good idea, but I think I don't think that's the perfect offseason move to get 2 second-round picks and Trey Jones for your former number 1 overall pick. I think their biggest target should be Jaylen Brown. I mean, that would be the perfect move for them. They are a team that realistically should be going out and trying to go get that explosive piece. They should be in the market to try and go get their superstar that they can build around. So yeah, I don't see why they wouldn't go after Jaylen Brown on the market if he's available. I don't personally think, especially as a Celtics fan, I don't think he's available. But in the off chance that the Celtics do trade him, Atlanta should be one of those teams calling. And you throw everything but Jalen Johnson at the Celtics to see if you can get them to bite. That's more of the perfect idea. Now, forming that trade gets a little difficult, but the Hawks, who says they can't do it? All right, next up on this list, of course, it does go to the Boston Celtics. Perfect offseason move based off Bleacher Report is the Celtics get Goga Bitadze and a 2026 second round pick in exchange for the Celtics first round pick this year, which is projected right around 26 or 27. Although I think there's just better moves. Maybe this whole article is more realistic moves, but the Celtics, I do really like the addition of Goga Bitadze for the Celtics. I think that would be a solid role player. I think that the center play, though, we'd be looking at somebody a little bit higher on that caliber. Somebody as in a Miles Turner, somebody as in DeAndre Ayton, somebody as in a Walker Kessler. Somebody that just elevated slightly more. That would kind of, like Walker Kessler, I think would be a great fit for the Celtics. Could they afford him? I don't think so. But in the off chance that they, like I said, move off of a Jaylen Brown, maybe a Derek White, something like that, you might have an opportunity there to go get a younger center who fits the mold and play style of, defends the boards really well and rebounds the ball extremely well. I think that's more the perfect offseason move if I'm the Celtics. Next up, the Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn receives Dalton Knecht, Jared Vanderbilt, and a 2026 first-round pick in exchange for Nicholas Claxton. This one, I genuinely agree with. I think that this is a pretty ideal move. I think they go get the young guy in Dalton Knecht. Yeah, he hasn't shown too many flashes per se, but also getting as many first-round picks as possible if you're Brooklyn, that's a good idea. I think same thing goes with trading Michael Porter Jr. I think you could throw him in the mix of possibly being a Laker next year. Nicholas Claxton, though, could be a Celtic. He could be a Charlotte Hornet. Like, I think you got to put a bidding war up. Is this the best package that you can get if you're Brooklyn for Nicholas Claxton? A young player, right? An expiring contract and a first round pick. I mean, that's a pretty solid haul. I just think overall, maybe Charlotte gives you a little more. Maybe Boston gives up a little more. I mean, realistically, though, this is a solid package. So I would not be, if they got this in return for Nicholas Claxton, I think that's a fair deal. So, and then you probably either move Jared Vanderbilt at the deadline, or you buy him out or something like that. Next up, Charlotte. Charlotte, it's saying that Bleacher Report saying that they received Derrick Jones Jr. in exchange for Josh Green and a 2029 second round pick. I disagree with this completely. Their perfect offseason move revolves around a center. Whether, like I said before, it's if they go and talk to Minnesota about Rudy Gobert, if they go and talk to the Celtics about Nikola Vucevic, if they go and talk to somebody about a center, Jalen Duren, and paying him as much as they possibly can, that is the ideal move for the Hornets. I mean, Jalen Duren or Rudy Gobert, I think, would be a match made in heaven for the Hornets specifically. They shoot the three ball really well. They just need somebody to crash the boards. You don't need them to score. You got three other scorers on the roster that do it phenomenally, that shoot the three ball extremely well. Like, you don't need to worry about three-point shooting at all or spacing the floor if you're the Hornets, because you have so much space already. You need just a great, not even a great, but a decent defensive center. Walker Kessler's another guy I think that they could be looking at. They could be eyeing. So I disagree with the Derrick Jones Jr. move. I do understand bringing in another wing that can defend at a high level, sure, but I think you got to focus center. Chicago Bulls. Chicago Bulls receive V. Missy in exchange for a 2026 second round pick, another 2026 second round pick, and then a 2028 second. I mean, 3 seconds for a young center, shoot, send it. Like, if the Bulls can really pull that off, sure. I think that's a solid move. He fits that mold of the slap that they want to live by and coach by and sign players by, so sure. If that's what it takes, 3 second round picks, I think that's fair. Second round picks typically don't turn into anything anyways, so why not? I think that, worth a pick. And I just think that if the highest offer on the table is 3 second round picks, I just feel like you didn't take enough phone calls for Missy. 3 seconds is what gets the deal done. All right. But I don't mind this if I'm the Bulls. I think obviously they need to get younger. They need to get not even just younger per se, because they're already pretty young, but like getting young players that have talent on their roster and play different positions than just guard is perfect for Chicago. They're a team that just desperately needs talent, but not talent at the guard position. And I don't think per se, because they're at 4. And if they're in a position where, like, if you truly believe Darius Acuff is your guy, or, I hope that they draft Caleb Wilson. I really do. I think he'd be a prime fit in Chicago. I'd like to see him in a Bulls jersey, that whole 9 yards. But let's say they go Acuff. I think at that point, you got to trade 3-4 guards on that roster and just make room for Acuff to just go. Because I know he's been getting some comparisons to an AI, to a Derrick Rose, to a John Wall-esque speed. But if you're serious about that, that's okay to take the swing, but you really got to follow it up. You can't just have 17 guards on this roster and continue that year after year after year. So I hope that they really do make that decision and go with Caleb Wilson, but I could see a world where they're like, so trading for a guy like V. Missy makes a lot of sense in that scenario, because then you have Missy, Buzelis, of course, Caleb Wilson is my predicted pick for them. Josh Giddey. Like that's a young, of course, Josh Giddey doesn't really fit that slap program, but he's at least long. He's a tall guy for a point guard. So next up, Cleveland Cavaliers. Cleveland Cavaliers' perfect offseason trade based off Bleacher Report is Giannis in exchange for Evan Mobley, Max Strus, Tyrese Proctor, a 2026 first rounder, and then a 2031 first round pick, a 2030 first round pick swap. Interesting. So then you're left with Jared Allen, which you'd probably move him to, Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, and what, Sam Merrill, Dean Wade. Would I do this if I am Cleveland? I think the answer is no. Because I don't love the fit of Mitchell, Harden, Giannis. That trio just doesn't really sound good together. I think if you're trading Evan Mobley, you gotta be... I think you swing for a fence, sure. But I just don't like this deal because I just think it's too clunky. Like, it just doesn't sound right. James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, Giannis. One, I think they need to put an elite defender next to Donovan Mitchell. I think somebody like Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I think somebody like even Dante DiVincenzo would be pretty solid. A Derek White would be phenomenal. If Cleveland is able to get that, rather than focusing on the other positions, because I think Evan Mobley and Donovan Mitchell can work together. One, I think Evan Mobley sometimes just gets quiet on the court, and it's like, why? You're one of the best players on the court. But then again, Donovan Mitchell, I've had this theory that maybe he's just not a number one. You know, and some guys aren't. Some guys, when they win their chip, they're not the number one. Right? A lot of the time of, let's say, Shaq's career, he wasn't the number one. Yeah, there was times where he was. But overall, like him with Phoenix, he was not the number one. Him with Miami, there's a debate there. He was not number one, but he was at least closer to number one than Phoenix. Cleveland, though, I don't like Giannis as the move. I would prefer them to focus on, Derek White, Jalen Suggs. If you can move James Harden over to Orlando and get Jalen Suggs in the meantime, I like that. I like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, but he's not going to be on the market. Derek White might be on the market. So that's just interesting to think about that instead of a guy like Giannis. I'm also just not in on the whole Giannis trade thing again because it's been 4 years of the same thing. It's been over the offseason or by the deadline. Oh, they're going to trade him. And then no, they don't. Dallas's offseason move is Jalen Suggs and Jonathan Isaac in exchange for Kyrie Irving. If you're Dallas, I don't love this deal, but I don't hate it per se. I would like Cooper Flagg to have more of a point guard than Jalen Suggs. I think Jalen Suggs fits more the two guard role, like the Marcus Smart, Derek White role, versus being a true number one. I'd like to see Cooper Flagg with, genuinely him with Kyrie would be pretty interesting to watch. Because I think Kyrie's mentorship would really help Cooper Flagg a lot, and it probably already has. I'm obviously big on Cooper Flagg, and you got to build around him. He's your number one option. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I think you instead focus on trading more of the Daniel Gaffords of the world first before you focus on trading Kyrie, just to see what the market is for a guy like Daniel Gafford. Because if you could roll into next season with Cooper Flagg, Kyrie Irving, and I'm trying to think of a disgruntled player that might fit alongside Cooper Flagg. Maybe you can get involved with Houston. If you're going to trade Kyrie, maybe you go talk to Houston about some of their young guns. Maybe you go talk to Detroit and you go get some of their young pieces. That's just a theory in my head. Just pretty interesting to see. Denver's ideal offseason trade is Marcus Smart in exchange for Zeke Najee, a 2026 second round pick, and that's it. I like this trade better for the Lakers, just with Marcus Smart's age. I know he was so crucial for them for any sort of success in the playoffs because he played extremely well. He played very hard. His work ethic was through the roof, and it always has been. But it was good to see a little bit of resurgence in his career. Now, what I will say is Denver, I don't really think they need Marcus Smart per se. Denver seems like they just needed some outside shooting. Jamal Murray, I don't think that you trade him yet. I think you give it another season, and then if he has another disappointing year, then you probably move off of him. But I also think their ideal offseason move, maybe they could squeeze a Kevin Durant from Houston. Maybe they could squeeze... Now, could you get the package going? That's the question, is like Christian Brown and Cam Johnson going to do it to get Kevin Durant? But then you'd be sacrificing a lot of your bench, and then you wouldn't need a lot of your bench. I mean, the trio of Jamal Murray, Kevin Durant, and Jokic sounds good. But of course, that's very similar to Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Jokic, and Kevin Durant is a better version of Michael Porter Jr., of course, but in the same sense, they are far off, but at this point in KD's career, they're not so far off. That's all I'll say about that. So I think they need to focus more on just another scorer. Maybe just Cam Johnson just needed more time. So if I'm Denver, maybe you just don't make too many moves yet and you wait. All right, next up here, the Detroit Pistons. Detroit receiving Trey Murphy in exchange for Isaiah Stewart, Ron Holland, a 2026 first round pick. Now, I mean, sure. I think that's solid. I think if you're Detroit and you can get a guy like Trey Murphy, I like that. I still think you run into a similar problem where I think you need to make another move on top of that. But I don't mind this. Isaiah Stewart, Ron Holland in the first for a guy that can 3-and-D very well. He's 25 years old, so he's super young. Averaged 21 and 5 for the Pelicans. So I think if you can somehow squeeze Cade Cunningham, you go get, let's say, CJ McCollum on a cheaper deal, or a Norman Powell on a cheaper deal, and then you can afford to get a guy like Trey Murphy. Sure, I think that's prime, perfect offseason. I like that deal actually. Trey Murphy. So then you'd run a lineup of, let's say, Cade, CJ, Trey Murphy, Tobias Harris, and Jalen Duren, or I guess Asar Thompson, Jalen Duren. I don't mind that. I mean, defensively, still nasty team, still a really good team. So I don't mind it either way. It's interesting to think about for sure. All right, Golden State. Golden State's perfect offseason move is Kawhi Leonard in exchange for Jimmy Butler, Pods, and a 2026 first round pick being, top 14. This move specifically, I don't think it pushes the needle too much. I mean, Kawhi and Curry, obviously that would be like very unique to see, right? But do I think that's a big needle mover? I mean, I just think Golden State just needs a lot of help with depth per se. I don't necessarily think that they need, and Kawhi Leonard, his injury history is through the roof, of course. But of course, the two of them together, Curry, Kawhi, would be nuts. And it'd be great to see. Do we think that they would then take it a step further, trade Draymond to then get just some depth? But I don't think so. Because you're still left with Moses Moody right there. You're still left with, of course, Trace Jackson Davis. You're still left, of course, with Draymond. So that could potentially get you something. Just a lot of money tied up into Kawhi and Curry. But of course, it's taking one last swing before Curry retires. So I don't mind it. I don't mind that deal, especially Jimmy Butler, you get off his money. Pods isn't really anything for you. And then a first, which, whatever, I guess. I mean, in this year's draft, we all know it's top 4. You're not top 4, so it is what it is. Houston Rockets. Tyler Hero and this year's first-round pick from the Heat in exchange for Jabari and Reed Shepherd. I think if I'm Houston, I'm doing this in a heartbeat. You get a first-round pick and Tyler Hero. In exchange, you give up Jabari Smith, which, yeah, he's solid. I think that he is a solid NBA player. Realistically, doesn't really fit because you have so many players. You have so many mouths to feed over there. You need a ball handler. Reed Shepherd just isn't ready. So it might be a win-win for both. Now, Amen Thompson and Tyler Hero got beef in the past. So can they squash that beef? Will the chemistry be there? That's a big question. So then you're running a lineup of Tyler Hero. Whether does he come off the bench or does Freddie come off the bench? So it's like Tyler Hero, Freddie, KD, Amen Thompson, Sengun. Not bad. Defensively, kind of worries me with like Freddie coming off an injury and Tyler Hero. But of course you have Amen back there. Sengun's not the greatest defender. I mean, it's all right. It's all right. That's what I'll say about that. I would prefer them to go for more of a true point. Somebody like you go and get one of those Chicago guys like Josh Giddey, for example. I would prefer Josh Giddey on this lineup versus a Tyler Hero. I understand he spreads the floor, helps you out with Tyler Hero. He can go get a bucket. And he's a defensive liability too. So it's an all right trade. Indiana receives a 2027 second round pick. Detroit receives Obi Toppin. The Pacers, they do this trade because they're already $13 million over their luxury tax. So it's going to happen. They're going to trade dump somewhere and then just prepare for Halliburton's next season. And that's fine. I mean, Halliburton, Nembhard, Pascal Siakam, you focus on that. Of course, Zubac is there as well. So I don't mind it. I don't mind that at all. I think it's a good swing for them. Might as well get off the money while you can. Clippers ideal offseason trade is Miles Turner. So Miles Turner goes to the Clippers in exchange for Bogdan Bogdanovic, Giannis Konin, Niedenhauser, and a 2031 first round lottery protected pick. I don't mind this for both teams. The Clippers, for example, they were one of those teams that took the swing on the 5 through 9 to trade Zubac, so they go and replace that with a center. If you're the Bucks, you get a first round pick in 2031, and who knows what the Clippers look like then, and you get a young guy who's shown flashes in Niederhauser, and so I don't mind this. And then the Clippers, you have a lineup of Kawhi, Miles Turner, Darius Garland is of course still there. Would they end up at 5? I think they ended up at 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so they're at 5. So you'd be looking at Keaton Wagler or Darius Acuff. I think they probably go Keaton Wagler just because, maybe Nate Ament, just because of Darius Garland. So you that's a solid lineup. Derrick Jones Jr. is still there. I don't mind that. The Lakers. The Lakers receive Dylan Brooks in exchange for Jake LaRavia, Dalton Connect, Thero, and a 2026 first round pick. This trade, I think Phoenix could, a first round pick in exchange for Dylan Brooks. You get Jake LaRavia, you get young Dalton Connect. You probably end up flipping him later for a couple seconds maybe. I think the Lakers, their ideal offseason is revolved around a center. Daniel Gafford, Walker Kessler, Nicholas Claxton, somebody like that. I've also said Michael Porter Jr. would be in that mix of somebody that would fit very well. Sign and trade with Austin Reeves over to Brooklyn, something like that. That's what I think they should do. But I don't mind this. Dylan Brooks, so you'd have Luka Austin Reeves, Dillon Brooks, LeBron, Ayton. I mean, that's kind of just a bad defensive lineup, but of course Dillon Brooks is there. Memphis receives DeMar DeRozan, Malik Monk, Devin Carter. The Kings receive Ja Morant. What I'll say is if the Kings can get Ja Morant without giving up a pick, there's no shot this is ideal for Memphis. Right? Memphis, there's no way this would... Like, I can't believe Bleacher Report's even considering this as the ideal trade, because this would only benefit Sacramento. You gain... Like, DeMar DeRozan probably gets waived once you bring him in. Malik Monk, sure, he's cool, but, like, he's not young. Devin Carter is arguably a bust. And then you get... I mean, that would just... I just don't see... I think they can get a better deal for Morant than the Kings offer here of DeRozan, Monk, and Devin Carter. I mean, not even like a Maxime Reynal or even Keegan Murray or something like that. Just straight up. I mean, if you're the Kings, like I said, you fleece, you take your money and you run. Because then you're running a lineup of Ja, Levine, Keegan, Sabonis, Dylan Cardwell, or you bring him off the bench and you run small. Neat Clifford maybe starts. I mean, it's still a terrible lineup, but it's better. I don't mind the idea, though, of Ja and Sabonis together. I do see the similarities of what Ja and Sabonis could do with what Fox and Sabonis could do. I think Fox is a better player than Ja. Long term, like prime for prime, I'll take Fox over Ja, but I don't hate this deal. If you're the Kings, I love this deal. I don't love this deal if you're Memphis, because I think you get a little bit of a better package from like Miami, where it's like one young guy like Nikola Jovic or Jaime Jaquez or something like that. Milwaukee, I'd rather have a package they give up. I mean, who else? Minnesota probably gives a better package centered around Randall probably goes to a third team. So you're probably, I don't know. Sacramento, that deal is terrible. Miami's ideal is Ja Morant in exchange for Andrew Wiggins and Davion Mitchell. Similar thing. If you're Miami, why not? But I'm shocked that Bleacher Report's even putting no picks at all, not even a second here, because I would assume that they would need like a second or something like that. Milwaukee's ideal trade this offseason is Franz Wagner in exchange for Kyle Kuzma, Bobby Portis, 2026 first round pick, which Franz Wagner and Giannis. I don't love the fit there. I think I'd rather have somebody that kind of spaces the floor a little more, like a Tyler Hero over in Milwaukee, than a than a Franz. But if you're Milwaukee and you can do this deal, and then on top of that, you can trade Giannis for a package of like Tyler Hero and all the young guys over there, you're running a lineup of Tyler Hero, Franz Wagner. That's at least something, a building block towards the future. And then you trade Miles Turner, or maybe you keep Miles Turner at that point. That's at least something. I'm not saying that's prime. I'm just saying, like, as far as quick flips and quick turnaround, or maybe you get in the Ja Morant experiment. Kyle Kuzma, Bobby Portis, 2026 first round pick. So what would the best deal for Giannis be? It would probably be Houston. I think Portland is up there with a big deal because, of course, they have the Bucks picks. So that, if I'm the Bucks, that entices me. But especially, we have to consider as well, the new format of the lottery is definitely going to change everything. We're not going to see first round picks be as valuable as they once were, which might be a good thing in all reality. because teams might keep their picks and then draft and develop versus trade 5 first round picks for, Rudy Gobert, and then it doesn't pan out. It might be interesting. Minnesota's ideal move is Ja Morant. They also included Zach Edey, and I don't think that would be included, but in exchange for Rudy Gobert, Dante DiVincenzo, and a 2026 first round pick. If you're Minnesota, you do this in a heartbeat. Ja Morant and Zach Edey, sure. So you're running a lineup of Ja, Anthony Edwards, McDaniels, Julius Randle, Zach Edey, sure. If you're Memphis, probably not. Rudy Gobert, Dante DiVincenzo, yeah, I don't love that. So I'll pass on that if I'm Memphis, but Minnesota, it is a point guard. Kyrie, Ja, I even think De'Aaron Fox. Maybe De'Aaron Fox is the one that moves because they're paying him a lot of money in San Antonio, and he ain't really playing like De'Aaron Fox we once knew. New Orleans, ideal situation would be OG, which of course, they're about to win the chip. In exchange for Zion, New York's not doing this. New York wouldn't trade OG for Zion. I think this would have been something that maybe they would trade OG had the Knicks flopped, but because they made it all the way to the chip, they're up 2-0 already. By the time this video is being sent out, maybe it's 3-0, maybe it's 2-1, whatever it is. Who knows? But overall, they're not doing that. Then the Pelicans' ideal move would be to move off Zion, would be to move off Trey Murphy, would be to move off Herb Jones, would be to trade anything in the kitchen sink away. Sure, build around Derek Queen and Jeremiah Fears. You got to just go young, recoup assets, restart. The Knicks. This is a 3-team deal. The Knicks receive Giannis. The Bucks receive Zion, Herb Jones, 2026 first round, and then a 2033 first round via the Knicks. The Pelicans receive Cat. Now, again, I think that this article got released before the finals and before the playoffs, probably, because there's no shot that the Knicks would do this right now. If you win a championship, you don't touch the roster. You just win until you can't. And then you start focusing on trading guys away. But it'd be crazy if they won a chip and then traded Cat, who might win finals MVP. Probably won't. Probably be Brunson, but realistically, and then you receive back Giannis. Sure, he's a great player and all that, but so you're giving up Cat and 2 first-round picks for Giannis. It's honestly not a bad package, but they're not doing that. The Thunder receive Isaiah Stewart. The Pistons receive Alex Caruso. I don't mind this for the Pistons at all. Alex Caruso, I think, would be a great player to go over there and come off the bench. I still think you focus on a scorer, and Alex Caruso wouldn't be that. But the Thunder are currently projected to be $38 million over the second apron. So they're going to need to make some moves, which would probably be declining Isaiah Hartenstein's option. And then, maybe you go get a guy like Beef Stew, who's a cheaper option and available. I don't know. I don't really think he leaves Detroit, to be honest, but we'll see. Orlando's ideal trade would be LaMelo Ball in exchange for Jalen Suggs and Wendell Carter. Charlotte's not trading LaMelo, but if they were, I would love to see him in Orlando. I think he would be a prime fit alongside Paolo. Of course, that center goes over, and I don't think there's a world where they wouldn't have to give up a pick or two, or at least more. So, Philly receives Giannis in exchange for VJ Edgecombe, Paul George, 2026 first rounder, 2030 first rounder, 2032 first rounder, 2028 second, 2028 second, 2029 second, and a 2031 second. Now, Philly is not doing this. Philly's not giving up VJ Edgecombe. They'd give up Embiid before they give up Edgecombe. Giannis and Embiid together does not sound great. I don't like that at all. I mean, it would be nasty defensively, but availability would be terrible. Both would just not play, and then you'd be screwed. Of course, you'd get off of Paul George's contract, so that would be huge, but you're giving up a lot for Giannis. I think VJ Edgecombe is solid. I don't think you move him at all. I think you trade Embiid, you trade Paul George, you clean slate, you restart, and you rock with the young guns. You build around Tyrese and VJ Edgecombe. I think that's what you do. If I'm them, that's what I'm doing. Phoenix, only a couple more teams left. Phoenix ideal move is Ja Morant, Gigi Jackson, and Cam Spencer in exchange for Jalen Green and Maluach. I mean, if you can get that, Jalen Green for Ja Morant pretty much, and then Maluach for Gigi Jackson and Cam Spence, I think that's a win for the Suns. Again, no picks given. So Bleacher Report must value Ja Morant's trade value very, very low. Because no picks at all is crazy. Not even seconds. Next up, Portland. Portland receives Giannis. The Bucks receive Scoot, Shaedon Sharpe, Jeremy Grant, Yang Hansen, and a 2026 first round pick. I think I'd do this. If you throw in one more first round pick, I think I'd do it if I'm the Bucks. And I don't mind this for both teams, honestly. Like Giannis, sure. I mean, yeah, giving up Shaedon Sharpe is tough. But I mean, if they can get away with like not giving up Sharpe in this deal and giving another first round pick instead, sure. That's where I do kind of draw the line. But of course, is Shaedon Sharpe going to be the determining factor into me saying no to a Giannis deal where you don't have to give up, I mean, you're giving up two young guns. I mean, three if you include Hansen, but he needs time. I don't think he's a true NBA player, but could be one day. I mean, screw it. I would do it, both teams. I don't think it's that bad of a deal. The Sacramento Kings, their ideal offseason move is Ron Holland, Isaiah Stewart, Karis LeVert, 2026 first round pick in exchange for Domantas Sabonis. If I'm the Kings, I do this. You get a first round pick in this year's draft. You get young Ron Holland. You get decently young Isaiah Stewart. And then you let Karis LeVert rock out. You trade him at the deadline. I think I do this. If I'm the Pistons, do I like Sabonis with... The good thing about Sabonis is he can actually play make. So, Duren, Sabonis, you probably move off Tobias at that point. Or do you slide everyone down? I don't love the fit of Sabonis in Detroit. But I do think Sabonis needs to be on the move. San Antonio. Wow, San Antonio, they're saying Donovan Mitchell goes to San Antonio in exchange for Dylan Harper, Devin Vassell, and 2 first-round picks. If I'm San Antonio, I'm not doing this. Dylan Harper proved in the playoffs so far, even if they don't win it, that he is legit. He is a legit player. I think if anyone goes, you look at Keldon Johnson, you look at maybe you trade Vassell, but ultimately probably Fox. Because they need something else there. Or maybe just Fox just needs to get healthy. I do love the idea of Fox in San Antonio, but it almost is becoming redundant where you don't need him because you have Harper and Castle. I mean, do you need a 3-guard lineup? Not really. But I do really like Harper and Castle in San Antonio. As far as Donovan Mitchell goes, don't like that in San Antonio. Takes shots away from everyone else. I don't like it. I am kind of on board with the idea that Donovan Mitchell might just not be a number 1. I think he's more of a number 2. Can take over games for sure. But I think on a championship roster, is he a number one? I don't think so. I mean, they've been trying for years and years now, even before Cleveland with Utah. They made the moves to try and make things happen. Same thing in Cleveland. They're trying to make moves to make things happen, and they still can't do it. And this was the year. All right. 3 more teams. Toronto. Toronto receives Kawhi Leonard. They just think that's just going to make everything. They're going to go back to 2019 if they do that. In exchange for Brandon Ingram, Colin Murray-Boyles, Jacoby Walter, and a 2026 first-round pick. I think if you're the Clippers, you probably do this. I like Colin Murray-Boyles, Brandon Ingram, solid. Jacoby Walter, solid, and a first-round pick, sure. Kawhi Leonard, I mean, you get off Kawhi's money too. I think that's a deal. And you don't really lose a step either if you're the Clippers. You just get younger. They're going to have the 5th overall pick in this year's draft. Darius Garland, this 5th overall pick. Brandon Ingram, Colin Murray-Boyles. I don't mind it. I like it. Toronto, though, I don't think they do that. I think they're more focused on getting off of Emmanuel Quickley's money than anything else. Utah. Utah receives Jaylen Brown in exchange for Lauri Markkanen, Ace Bailey, Kyle Filipowski, and a 2027 first-round pick from the Lakers. Utah. So Utah's saying that Walker Kessler, they'd probably resign. Walker Kessler, Jaren Jackson Jr. would be, and then whoever this pick is, whether it's Darren Peterson or whoever, and Jaylen Brown is the future. I don't mind that for Utah. As far as Boston, I don't think they trade Jaylen Brown. I really don't. I don't think he's going anywhere, but a package in return for Jaylen Brown, this isn't bad. I mean, Lauri Markkanen is a solid player. He fits the Celtics offense. Ace Bailey probably gets flipped again. Kyle Filipowski is whatever. And a 2027 first round pick from the Lakers. And who knows what they look like in 2027. I mean, they'll have Luka, so they'll probably be good. I mean, maybe you do this, but I don't love it if I'm the Celtics. I would do it if I'm Utah. I would. So you have Walker Kessler, Jaren Jackson Jr., Jaylen Brown, let's say Darren Peterson, and Keontae George. That's not bad. It's not a bad lineup. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. Last but not least, the Washington Wizards receiving Herb Jones in exchange for Bilal Coulibaly and Cam Whitmore. I love this if I'm the Wizards, of course. I'm a huge fan of Herb Jones. I'm a huge fan of Trey Murphy. As far as the package, if that's the package you're giving up, I mean, you do that in a heartbeat. And if you're the Pelicans, you're just not calling enough teams about Herb Jones, because I think you can, at a bare minimum, get a first-round pick. So I think overall, there were a lot of solid moves. I think this article definitely came out before the playoffs. So that's where things kind of got a little funky there with some of those teams where, you kind of expected, you don't expect New York to make the moves that they made or that they would make there. They're probably about to win this championship. If not, of course, they're not going to make any drastic moves where they go and trade Cat for Giannis or something like that. I don't think that happens. I think New York fans are finally content with at least just making the finals. And so that means Brunson staying, Cat staying. I mean, probably Bridges stays. OG probably stays. I think you just run it back. I mean, realistically. But overall, I think there were some solid trade ideas in there. I think the whole Dalton Connect going to the Nets is kind of intriguing, especially with the idea that maybe Austin Reeves could go there as well. So just familiar faces in new places kind of thing. So, all right, guys, without further ado, it's been another Beyond the Arc podcast. Just do me a huge favor, like, subscribe, comment down below your favorite move from this podcast episode. Without further ado, it's been another Beyond the Arc episode, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.